welcome to Jassè in the Jeep. Thank you for joining. Happy 2019. I'm so glad to be here with you guys. And if you know or you don't know, I launched my new YouTube channel. It's called Jassè in the Jeep. So you'll be able to go back and watch old videos, new videos. You can share it with your friends. You can like it. You can tell me how you feel about it under the comments. You can tell me if you hate it. Hey, something new. So I'm really excited about that. Also want to thank all the people that helped me from the video to helping me set everything up. Just thank you for that. I'm not a techie, so it was a little hard, but I had great help. So just, you know who you are. Thank you, all of you guys, so much for all of your help with it. So I want to tell you guys about my first therapy session experience. And the reason I want to talk about this is because a lot of people have expressed to me, or just sitting down with my girlfriends, and they'll say, I really do want to speak with somebody. I do want a therapist, but I call, I don't get an answer, different things. And I've experienced that before with therapists. It's almost like dating. You hope and pray that you find the right person and they like you and you like them, and that they can help you. And so I did about 2 or 3 months with a mismatched therapist. And the reason I say that we were mismatched is because I really didn't get a good sense of where we were going with the therapy session, what she, thought about me and what I was explaining and all of these things. And at this time, I had already been diagnosed with breast cancer. I'd already had my surgery. I felt like I was on the upswing of my life. Cancer is behind me, so now I'm going to therapy to just kind of talk about like the residual emotion that comes with it. And this came about because my mom was like, I think you should talk to somebody, you're not yourself. Love you, Mom, but that's kind of how it sounds sometimes. Maybe you should talk to somebody. So I always listen to my mom, so I did. I did. I found a therapist. Sorry, my seat warmer is very hot. So I found a therapist, and I'm seeing her. And, she's asked me about my life and how I grew up and all the different things. And, what are these experiences and why are you here? And, we're having a good conversation. And she wasn't a bad therapist at all. Probably about the 4th session, because I'm just someone that's very straightforward. I ask very direct questions. I've always been this way. People love it about me. Some people hate it, but this is who I am. So probably after about the 3rd session, she got a little notepad, and I said, so can I ask you a question? What are you thinking? Like, what are you thinking is going on with me? I just, I'm coming, we're talking, and I just want to get an idea about, what your thoughts are. And so she puts her note back down, and she's like, I think that you dealt with some depression. And I'm like, depression? I didn't say nothing about being depressed. That's what I'm thinking, like in my Portia Williams voice. Who said that? Anybody say nothing about depression? That's how I'm thinking. So I was kind of upset that I asked that question, because depression never resonated with me. I never felt depressed. Like I said, I was going because my mom said that I seemed off. I had dealt with the breast cancer, and maybe that brought some depression. I would kind of say things like, oh, prior to the breast cancer I was like this, after the breast cancer I would say those things. And so I was like, maybe, but it never resonated with me. I never once felt like I was depressed. I never once felt like I was acting depressed. And I know that there are many different signs of depression. Anyway, something happened, and I stopped seeing that therapist. And then I had to find a new therapist. And my girlfriend was like, oh, I have the perfect therapist. She's great. She's blah, 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 all this stuff. And she's accepting new patients. So I called because I did want a new therapist. I do think that people should seek therapy, whether you do feel depressed or not depressed. I think it's good to work through those emotions with someone who's trained to do that, because we do hold in a lot of emotions and feelings. So I was eager to go to this new therapist. Her and I hit it off, and we were just able to have like real conversation, and she understood me and all of these things. And I think same thing, maybe after 2 or 3 sessions, I kind of asked her, like, so what are you thinking? Like, am I crazy? Am I weird? And she didn't say that I was depressed. She said, so I think you're learning who you are and you are awakening. Awakening. What does that mean? And so that kind of just sat with me for a little bit, and I realized that I was awakening and I was not dealing with depression. And so this Jassè in the Jeep is basically on that. What are you dealing with? And could you possibly be awakening? So if you don't know what an awakening is, you hear people say, oh, I'm woke. And woke means different things to different people. But the past woke versus being, culture and times about what's going on. Being woke is just, or awakening is about coming to the truth or wanting to learn more about yourself. So I looked this up because I'm not a specialist on this. So I looked this up. I went to a blog, and Laura Marie wrote that people who are awakening are those who want to hear the truth, become themselves, and they see and wish to see a change in the world. Their consciousness grows, their interests evolve, and the meaning of life changes for them. And that's what happened to me. Things changed. There was a new me, and there was an old me. There was the old Jassè before breast cancer, and there was the new Jassè after breast cancer. And she dealt with all of these things and all of these emotions. And so I just want to quickly go through some signs that you're awakening. And I will, through these signs, I'm going to tell you what I experienced. And I'll say, this happened to me, this didn't happen to me. But everyone's awakening is different. And the only reason I'm doing this is because some people may think that they're just off, or they're, something's just not right. And maybe you're not off. Maybe you're awakening and you just need someone to tell you. And so that's what Jassè in the Jeep is for. I'm going to tell you what these signs are. So, stages of awakening. People who know me or don't know, I listen to a lot of podcasts, different topics, and I did find one of the podcasts that I really, really like that resonates with me. They did a awakening podcast 2 years ago around my birthday, and so that's how I know I was supposed to catch this. It aired on November 14th, 2016, and so that's close to my birthday, so I felt like, Jassè, you were on the right track. So, signs of awakening. I already mentioned this one. The old you versus the new you. Like I said, I had started to live my life old Jassè versus the new Jassè. Jassè prior to breast cancer, Jassè prior to being a mom, Jassè prior to being a wife. And then there was this whole new Jassè that emerged after dealing with loss, dealing with hurt, dealing with health issues, dealing with stress, dealing with drama. All of these new things emerged in me. And so now I look at the world and I look at life different. I look at kids differently. I look at motherhood differently. And so there genuinely is a new Jassè. And I can pinpoint things that old Jassè would do versus what new Jassè would do. And that is kind of a first sign of your awakening. If you feel like there's now a dichotomy, there was an old you versus a new you. So that is something that I dealt with. Changes in friendships. You start to realize that what used to gravitate to you before, what you and your friends were able to speak about before, your interests, that you guys really could connect with and go out and have fun, those things have changed. It may still interest them, but it doesn't interest you anymore. I would say I had a very hard time connecting with my girlfriends after breast cancer, because I felt like, I can't talk to you about cancer. You're living your life. Everything is fine. We're young, but I happen to have cancer and you guys didn't. And it was different. And then from that, and that for me is just an experience. But with an awakening, it doesn't have to be hinged on cancer. It doesn't have to be hinged on a life event. You could just say, you know what, these old friendships, as much as I love them, we don't talk about the same topics anymore. We don't watch the same shows. We don't have the same common interests. I love them, but I need people that have the same interests or can understand the things that I've been through. And so that was something that I dealt with for a while. I had lost a close friend, and I was at the time losing a close friend. And so I had kind of just compartmentalized myself, whereas I wasn't going out anymore. I would talk to my good girlfriends over the phone. And once I got home, that was it. It wasn't this going out anymore. I valued more being and doing things with my family and making memories versus what would excite me before in the past. So that's also a sign. A need for authenticity, and that just means a need to tell the truth, a need to be honest. And the example that was used in the podcast, the co-host was saying that she was invited to a birthday party for one of her girlfriends, and she couldn't go. She just wasn't feeling it. And she said, in the past, I would either just not go, shoot him a text message later, I wasn't feeling well, blah, blah, blah. But she said, now I have a need for authenticity, and I tell the truth. And so she's like, I called my girlfriend, and I just said, I love you. I want to honor you on this day, and I want you to cherish your birthday. Unfortunately, I'm not able to come, but I do want to celebrate with you at a later time. And it's so funny that she said that, because I have been doing that now. Jassè before would either make herself go because that's where she's supposed to be and that's where people expect her to be, or she would avoid the whole situation and be like, what? I missed that. Shut up. I cracked myself up. But now, getting to this different side of myself, this awakened side of myself, I feel the need to tell the truth in areas that people might not want to hear the truth. And it's done with love and it's done with pure intention. But if it is going to hurt or harm me or make me to do something that I don't want to do at that time, then I need to be honest and just say, sorry, I can't do it. Sorry, I just can't do it. Deeper compassion for the world, animal, and nature. And I want to just talk about this time right now, just this whole culture that we're in. And either you like the president, you don't like the president, you like what's going on, you don't like what's going on, you know about the furlough, you're affected by the furlough, don't have any clue what the furlough is because you're not in the government. We're in such a time where things just feel like this. And so a lot of people will say a lot of people are becoming awakened at this time. And I think it's because of this. I think it's because of this instability that we feel when we turn on the news or we look at tweets or we read the paper, and whatever emotion that evokes for us. I think the awakened person now is looking at a deeper meaning of things, and they're looking at how people are affected and how people feel and those type of things. And so if you find yourself, being more compassionate for people that you don't know or more compassionate for animals, maybe it's a sign that you're awakening, and then you can join me over here on the Awaken Chair in Jassè in the Jeep. I'm just going to go through a few more. I can tell that there is a long list, and there's still a lot of things that I know that touched me. And so I'm going to have to do this Jassè in the Jeep in a two-part. Second is the loss of old habits and interests. And I want to pinpoint that there may be a loss in things that used to interest you, but there's probably a gain in things that now interest you. And so I think that loss of old habits and old interests kind of go with that shedding of your old self. I like the term, and they even use this in the podcast, but I know it from Shrek when Donkey says, "You have a lot of layers, Shrek." And the truth is, you're like an onion. The truth is, we are like an onion, and you can peel back. You can peel the different layers. And so as you're peeling back, or as you're awakening and becoming this new person is emerging, the old habits and the old things are probably shedding with those old layers. And maybe that's why some of those old habits no longer serve you. What I've noticed is there's a spark in creativity and interest that do serve you. Like, I'm reading books like crazy. I got 5 different journals that I'm using, and each are dedicated for different things. And I just have this spark of creativity that's just flowing through me. And you might see that with yourself, and you're like, oh, that's what that is? That's what that is. Maybe you're being awakened. I'm going to stop here. I'm going to let you guys resonate on those first few signs. I think there were 5 of them. I'm going to count them. So the first one is the old you versus the new you. Change in friendship, or a desire of change in friendship. A desire for authenticity. And you now have a deeper compassion for the world, animals, or nature. And you have lost habits or interests and have sparked new habits and interests in other areas. So just resonate, just think about that for a while. Just let it sit with you. If you think that this might be something, or something that you've dealt with in the past, and I'm still on this whole awakening path, shoot me a message, write something in the comments, please. Like, share, subscribe. That's what they say on YouTube. I'm trying to put those things in my mind. Please like, share, or subscribe. Send me a comment. I will do a part 2 of Jassè in the Jeep and this awakening experience, and I'll go through more about the different stages of awakenings, or signs that you are awakening, and what I dealt with. So thank you. Namaste.